good morning. I'm Lisa with Apex Revenue Media, a social media marketing company, and today I have a guest. But before I introduce my guest, I want to give a shout out to our location sponsor, South Jacksonville Presbyterian Church, that's also the home of Network San Marco. So here we go. Hey Chris, good morning. How are you?
Good morning. I'm fine. How are you?
I'm good. So thank you for taking the time to sit with me.
My pleasure.
So Chris is the Jacksonville running suit guy who runs just like this in his suit. Why? Well, we'll find out right now. So tell me about your suit. Tell me about what is this?
I run races in fine attire. Promoting your business is my desire. I run races dressed just like this in a nice suit, tie, fedora, and dress shoes, and promote your business and charity by wearing your logo on my suit. Now, nobody does what I do, and all the attention is on you. I've been a long-distance runner for years and years and years, but I've never been that interested in my finishing time. I wanted to have fun. And one of the ways by doing that is by running in a suit.
Awesome, and I do attest to that. I've never seen anybody else doing this, so it's always just Chris that stands out. Awesome. So I do want to share some accomplishments, if that's okay.
Sure, fine.
Okay. So Chris has his Bachelor of Science in Business Administration. He's attended the American Academy of Dramatic Arts in New York City for acting. He's moved to Germany to pursue a modeling career, and he lived on his own. You were about 24 years old.
Yep. And
then you raced stock cars at Riverhead Raceway in the 90s.
Correct. Riverhead Raceway is on Long Island. I was born and raised on Long Island. And I've always been into car racing since I was little. And when I had the chance to get on that racetrack, I took it.
Wow, okay, so I kind of see a little connection here, but we'll cover that in just a bit. Okay, so you completed a 100-mile bike race. You also completed a 50-mile bike race in the suit and tie.
Yeah, that was great.
You climbed to the bottom of the Grand Canyon.
Yes.
You did whitewater rafting in the Colorado River through the Grand Canyon for 8 days.
Yep.
You're a certified scuba diver.
Yes.
And you've climbed Mount Helens. Okay. Okay, well that does not, it doesn't end there. So you started running in New York City when you lived in Long Island, 1992.
Right.
You ran the New York City Marathon in 1994, 1995, 2000, 2015. You also ran the San Diego Marathon in 2006. You've run over 100 races here in Jacksonville alone in the past 2 years.
Correct.
So technically, including his training and racing, he's run over 5,000 miles in over 100 cities. And you've promoted charities such as the Marcy Mazzola Foundation, the Smile Train, the Carol M. Baldwin Breast Cancer Research Fund, the Make-A-Wish Foundation, Alzheimer's Association, Autism Association, Alex's Run, the Donna Foundation, and more. Wow, Chris! Oh my gosh!
It sounds overwhelming.
Wow. Okay. Did you know you did all these things as I say them?
No. You asked for some information, and I had a review, kind of like my life a little bit. And when you look back on it and realize how long I've been running, it's a lot of miles. And it's a lot of charities, and it's a lot of businesses. I've been doing this for a while.
Wow. So then my interest is, what is your why? So can you share with us, tell me the pit, what makes the running suit guy tick?
You know, one of the best things about running in a suit is I'm in the business of making people smile. Now, yes, I'm in the business for promoting charities and businesses. But when I run these races and I run by and I'm tipping my hat to the ladies like a gentleman, people just smile, they laugh, they like it, they like the originality of it. And I feed off of that energy of the spectators. So for me, that's what it's all about, really.
Wow.
So that's really kind of like why I do it, how I got started. Very briefly, I went to a Halloween party dressed like Indiana Jones. I wanted to wear the outfit again. He runs all the time in the movie. I started running a 10K like Indiana Jones. People loved it, right? Dun, 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 dun,
right.
Dun. And then I thought, okay, I did that for a couple of races. I wanted to see if I can make it even harder and run in a suit and tie, make it really formal. And I did that, and people loved it. Did you miss the train? Did you miss the bus? Are you running to your wedding? Running from your wedding? And then the media started coming around. And being a NASCAR fan, that's a race, there's ads all over the place, right? So I thought people would be interested in being on my suit because I'm getting a lot of media attention. I went door to door. showed people what I did. I had a lot of no's, I had 2 yeses, and the rest is history.
Wow. And here we are, the running suit guy.
That's correct. So, but I really enjoy the idea of building a new business, thinking outside the box, saying, hey, listen, why not? Why can't you run in a suit? Why can't you run in dress shoes? I run in Echo dress shoes. They're the best shoes that I found that I can run in. So I enjoy doing all of that. I enjoy the independence of running, actually. My feeling is, look, if you take my car, I have my bicycle. If you take my bicycle, I have my legs. Just don't take my legs. So I enjoy being independent. That's my life. That's how I run my life, is being independent.
Okay. So then tell me a little bit about your background. Where are you from? Where's your family from?
I'm from Long Island, originally, Long Island, New York. Born and raised there, moved here to Jacksonville 2 years ago. And I don't have really any family left. My parents both passed away by the time I was 30. Both my parents passed away, family broke up. And so they survived the Depression. I grew up poor, but we didn't know that we were poor, really. We had a lot of love in my family. But we didn't have new clothes. We went to the thrift shop. Day-old bread we'd get at the bakery. Anything to stretch the money. My father didn't make much. My mother was an amazing person when it came to stretching that dollar. But it also makes you appreciate. You don't like to waste food because we didn't have a whole lot of it, so you finished what was on your plate. Not always the best idea sometimes if you're trying to lose weight, I get that. But I can hear my mother talking about the starving people from Africa, some country back in the 60s. And so I don't like wasting stuff. So that's kind of like what is the fabric of who I am. So and that was because of the Depression of my parents. They knew what it was like to not have. So I remember what it was like to not have. I was homeless when I was living in Germany. I was homeless for 1 day in my life, and I'll never forget that. I don't want to forget that because it's a lousy, lousy feeling when you're walking down the street and you realize that you have no place to go, and you're looking at all these places, these apartments, and all of those people are safe and they're warm, and I was not. And I ended up sleeping out by a church that night. And of course it had a drizzle.
Of course.
And the next day I actually went to the church service. And at that church service, at the end of the service, a woman in front of me turned around and said, "You look like you need to talk." And I said, I really need a place to stay. And she happened to be the wife of the chaplain. This was on a military base in Germany. And I was able to stay with them for a while. So, my faith, my independence, that's kind of like it's all shaped by my past. That's what shapes us.
And what about your style of dress? So how does the way you dress and racing, where does that stem from?
I like looking nice. I like looking sharp. When I was in New York, I'd run these races. People would yell out, "Frank!" because they thought I looked like Frank Sinatra. And I think there's a place for class, for being a gentleman. I'm not sure the young people today, I don't know that they know anything about that. I like opening up a car door for a woman. I like all of that. I think there is something to be said for that. I like tipping my hat to the lady like a gentleman. That's what you're supposed to do. So I would love to bring that back. The Great Gatsby era, the 1920s, 1930s, that was my favorite era. Kind of like a time when men were men, ladies were ladies. That's a good time. So when I get a chance to dress up, look sharp, and then I do this race, people love it. And, look, you're smiling, I'm smiling. Look, when you smile, I tell people this all the time. When you smile, I run another mile. And that's really how it works. I live off the energy of the spectators. I grew up at Freeport Racetrack. I grew up in Freeport, and we would go to the racetrack. I went almost every Friday night. because I was the youngest in my family, and my sister and her boyfriend would grab me out of my mother's hair for a couple of hours, take me over to the racetrack. So I kind of grew up to this day, I still like the smell of gasoline. I like the smell of burned rubber. I like the smell of transmission fluid, radiator fluid. I like that whole atmosphere. So when I got my chance to get on the racetrack, I grabbed it, and it was all just very introductory, but I'm on the racetrack. It was exciting. I got to put my car together and get out there and race with race with the boys. That was fun, man. It's a lot of work. It's a lot of work, but it was fun. You finally get on that racetrack, and you're like, okay, I'm ready. Let's rock and roll, baby. So yeah, that's a big part of my life. I enjoy cars.
So I kind of see the connection of how growing up you're into Frank Sinatra, The Great Gatsby, and you were into car racing, and now you're the running suit guy. So it makes sense. It's all connected. Did you know that?
No, I never actually looked back on it and thought about it. But yeah, look, when you gave me these questions to think about, it really kind of puts a thread through a lot of everything that I hadn't really realized. But I do like being a gentleman. But both my parents passed away, as I told you, and I can't do anything for them anymore except honor their memory. And my father always dressed like a gentleman, and so I honor him by being a gentleman. And my mother I honor because she told me something that I still live by today, which is every time I don't want to do something, she would say, Chris, there's no time like the present. And I hated that growing up. Hated it. But it works. And so I don't put things off anymore because I can hear Mom going, there's no time like the present, Chris. Okay. And you would do it. And it was just, these are great lessons. You be a gentleman and, you try not to put things off. So those are some of the things that I live by.
Right. So whenever I met you, I was under the assumption that you had been a runner your entire life, and that was not true. So tell me about you when you started your journey. How old were you? And, were people kind of like, what's this guy doing?
Yeah, I had to be in my 30s. So it was 1994 was the first New York City Marathon. So what is that? 68, 70, 88. So I'm 36, I guess. And I started running a couple of years before that. So let's say I'm 34. I had a girlfriend who was a runner, and we were living together. And she would come home from work and then go right out the door again because she was training for the marathon. I never saw her. And so it's like the only way I'm going to see her is if I go running along with her. And so I started picking up running to train with her and be like, hi, honey, how's your day? And then I watched her run the New York City Marathon, and I watched all these other people run it. And some of these people were pretty heavy or pretty old or whatever. And I'm thinking, man, I think I can do this. And so I trained with my girlfriend, and the two of us ran the 1994 New York City Marathon. And I tell you, it is just like almost climbing a mountain. You don't have to do it, but it is a feather in your cap. You nailed it. Somebody said no, I picked up the gauntlet, and it said yes, and you watch me. And I ran the 94, and then all my friends were like, well, you ran it once. And I'm like, all right, fine, I'll show you again. I'm going to run the 95 marathon, which I did. I ran that. So, and then in 2000, I ran it because I was getting a little older, wanted to make sure I still had everything. And in 2006, I ran the San Diego because my friend wanted to run one, so I ran that with her. And in 2015, I ran it in my suit and tie because I wanted to be able to answer them when they asked me, what's the furthest you run in a suit? I wanted to be able to say the New York City Marathon. I didn't want to say, a 10K or half marathon. I wanted to say the biggest marathon in the world, and I ran it. And there are pictures of me crossing the finish line on my website in my suit.
How far is the marathon?
It's 26.2 miles.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Dressed just like this.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So I that's how I got started. And then, like I said, running in the suit thing just got started from, I wanted to be Indiana Jones. And I still have the outfit, but I wanted to see if I could make it even harder. I figured, all right, the brown leather bomber jacket, the brown hat, but the shirt was open. It was informal. Running in the suit now, I had the tie. It was all very kind of like constricted a little bit. But the tailor shop makes my suits here in Florida, and they are breathable, because I don't want to die out there. But they're lightweight and they're flexible. And when I cross that finish line, those pictures are really important to me. So I want to look good when I cross that finish line. So,
But you look great when you're representing these businesses that are on you too.
Right. Well, that's the other thing too, is if I'm going to be representing, let's say the Donna Foundation or Unity Fiber that's on the bottom here, they expect me to represent them in a professional manner. I cannot cross the finish line all sweaty and I'm dragging myself across the line. I owe it to them to look sharp as a tack. So I make sure that come hell or high water, I'm going to look sharp as a tack when I cross that finish line, because I'm representing, like I said, the Donna Foundation, First Place Sports. So I owe that to them to look sharp when I cross that finish line. So that's very important to me. And the way I start is the way I finish. People ask me, oh, don't, loosen your tie, take off your hat. I don't take off my hat. Now, I will admit, I do put, you know what? There's no holes in this hat. That's kind of funny. I do vent my hat. This is a brand new hat, which I have yet to take to the
races.
I've yet to use it in the race, and I forgot to vent it for this weekend's race. That'll make this race a little bit more interesting. But I usually put holes in the top of the hat. I take it to a shoemaker and a shoe repair place, and they put holes in the top of it so we can vent out the heat a little bit. But that's kind of like, how the whole thing got started.
Right. So I know for a fact that Jacksonville is a huge city full of runners. There's always a run going on every weekend. But one of the things that I find that some people that want to run but they're hesitant is that they think that you have to wear a specific gear or have to have like so many years of training. But you started when you were 36 and you went with what you had. So what do you have to say about people that are hesitant on running but they feel like there's a standard in order to run?
All right, so here's my tagline, okay? Just get out there. Just get out there. That's all you have to do is you just get started. You don't have to have all of this stuff figured out before you go. You don't have to do a whole lot of research. The beauty of running is that it's simple. You put on a pair of shorts, a t-shirt, sneakers, and you go. And if you find out you have some issue, okay, you look at that and you correct that issue. But there isn't anything stopping you from running. Heck, man, didn't you play tag when you were a kid? Didn't you run when you were a kid?
And whatever we had on.
And whatever you had on. So it's the same idea. Just get out there, start doing it, start running with somebody. That's important too. Because when you run with somebody, let's say you don't want to run that day, but they show up at your door because you're supposed to be running at 7 o'clock in the morning, you're going to run because you're obligated to your friend.
So you need an accountability partner.
An accountability partner will help you. That's correct. But to get out there and start running, a t-shirt, pair of shorts, sneakers, socks, and just go. I didn't start running a marathon in 1994. I don't think I could run around the block. My neighbor across the street was a marathon runner. I was duly impressed. I'm like, no way could I do that. But you have to walk before you run, okay? And you run around the block once, you run around the block twice, 3 times, okay? Then there's a slew of research. If you want to do some, it's all over the internet. You can check stuff out. I post stuff on the internet about running and about keeping it simple. It's all about keeping it simple. So it's not a complicated sport. But I tell you, it's a great sport because when you run in a group of people, they're all very supportive. And there's a lot of charities that benefit from these runs. I can't tell you, you mentioned all the charities. So it is a really nice, heartwarming sport. You can make it competitive if you want to. You can train and train and train to get your time down and all that. I've never been all that interested in that. I want to have a good time. And by wearing the suit, I kind of make all of those spectators, they're mine now. Because if you've ever watched a race and you watch all the runners go by, after a while it starts to blur. I mean, you're there to clap your hands and support them, but after a while it's a blur. And then you see the guy coming down. Oh, check this guy out.
The guy's in the suit.
We're going to cheer him on because that's inventive. That's out of the box thinking. So when I come running down the street, all of those fans, they're mine now. Because who they cheer? They're going to cheer for the guy that's running in a suit. Okay.
And they want to take their picture.
Oh, I cannot tell you how many. I have had my picture taken while I was running. Now, I had them usually at the beginning. Oh, can I take a picture with you? Or at the end, can I take a picture with you? Sure. Which, by the way, is added exposure for my clients and sponsors and charities. But I've had a guy, he whips out his camera, and we're running along, and we're taking a picture. I was like, oh my God. So everybody wants to be part of, I think it's inventive and out of the box and original, and people want to support that. So they take a picture. Hey, let's take a picture. Let's take a picture. So, there's a lot of exposure for the sponsors. In addition to being on the suit, it's going to be on somebody else's Facebook page. They may have taken a picture of the guy in the suit, but they also took a picture of the Donna Foundation or First Place Sports or CNL Automotive, who's on my pant leg. They take care of my car. So that's additional exposure. And then the media is going to come around, right? Because they're going to cover the same race every year. It's the same story every year. Until they see the guy in the suit. We want to talk to you. What's this all about? I'm so glad you asked. Then I hand out your card. I hand out your literature. That's additional exposure. So it really, really works. I have many testimonials on my website for people who've gotten business from being on my suit. It's just an alternative to what's out there, and nobody does what I do. So all the attention is going to be on your business. Look, here's Thrive, right? Thrive is a company that does client relationship management. I use them, but I also promote them. People are going to see that. They're going to say, what's Thrive? I'm so glad you asked. Boom, here's a card. And then, because I use them, I give a testimonial. Same thing with, look, this is Wicked Graphics. She makes my cards, my business cards. So I give a testimonial, I hand out a card. It's that one-to-one that you don't get with a billboard. Plus, I'm like a running billboard. So you don't have to pass the billboard to see me. I'm going to pass you. So if I'm at a race, everyone sees me. I start in the front, right? All the pictures being taken, and then everybody passes me. When they pass me, they see what's on my back. I have ads on my back. So everyone is interested. They want to know what's going on. They start looking at what's this. And I have business cards because all of these pockets, they're usually sewn closed, but I have them all open on my suit so I can put your literature in there and hand it out. So it's the media, it's the personal aspect of it, handing out your card, saying a little something about it. And then at the end of the race, people always come up to me, they're like, you ran like that? And I'm like, yeah. Oh, can I have my picture with you? Sure. We take a picture. They're going to post it on their Facebook page. Additional exposure for you. This past Saturday, I ran the Gate River Run, which is the largest race in Jacksonville. There's over 20,000 people, and I have a great eye for the media. I search out those people, and I go, hey, can we do a little one-to-one, an interview? Maybe we'll talk about the Donna Foundation, and they'll take a picture. But they also took a picture of First Place Sports or Unity Fiber or Wicked Graphics or Thrive or whatever. On Sunday, I don't know if this is aired yet, but I'm going to be at the Concours d'Elegance on Amelia Island. That is where the super wealthy people come and they show off their cars and all that. I will be at that event walking around for 8-9 hours in another suit promoting the tailor shop. Then on Tuesday...
But you're passing out business cards too.
Oh, for sure. Because people are going to say, wow, nice suit. Great. This is where you can get yourself one. Here's a card.
Okay, so I see the connection. So if you're looking to promote online, come to Apex Revenue Media. But if you're looking to promote in person with a personal testimonial, then you would use Running Suit Guy.
Correct. And then on Tuesday, I'll be going to the TPC golf tournament, which is 6 days.
So whoever's on your suit for Tuesday is a lucky person because the TPC event is huge.
Oh, that's hundreds of thousands of people. And I'll be there every day. It's 6 days. First 2 days are practice rounds. That's where I hope to get my picture taken with some of the golfers. So if Phil Mickelson is there or Sergio Garcia or somebody, I'll be like, hey, how you doing? What do you think? What? Can we take a picture together? Sure. Bam. And I'll be there all 6 days walking around in my suit.
Okay, so then tell us, because I know that we're dying to know.
Go.
How do we get on the suit? What do we do? Where do we go?
Yeah, well, www.TheRunningSuitGuy.com. All the information is there. You can email me directly at TheRunningSuitGuy@gmail.com. You can also go to my Facebook page, Running Suit Guy Promotions. The information is there, or there'll be a link to the website. So it's easily to get on my suit. The front and the back, there's different prices. It's usually for a month, which includes 4 races at least. And to be honest, I'll probably leave you on for a little bit longer because my aim is to make you happy. I work really hard for that. I want you to get business from my promotion because that's going to build up my business. And the same thing, look, it's important to be associated with a charity. It just is. It's good for business and it's good for business and it's good for your heart. So that's what you want.
Okay.
You know.
So then before we end our interview, I remember you said, if you stay in shape, you don't have to worry about...
You'll never get... If you stay in shape, you'll never have to get into shape.
Right. So every time I'm like, not on my diet, and then I go run, because I always remember that you said that the easiest way to exercise for free is if you run.
Yeah, it's an easy exercise, and if you want to stay in shape, look, it is a combination of diet and exercise. You can't just do diet and you can't just do exercise. You need to do both. So if you're eating your vegetables and your things that are low in calories, and you go out for a run, there's no way you can't lose weight. And you'll stay in shape, and your cardiovascular will be in better shape, and you're just going to feel better. Because if you go out there and run let's say it's a 5K, just starting out, 3 miles, 3.1 miles, I think. And you go out there and there was a challenge to you and you nailed it and you did it, do you know how good you're going to feel? You're going to feel on top of the world. Now you're going to go, okay, what else you got? Let's do a 5-mile run. Now you nail that. All right, what else you got? Now you're going to do a 10K, 6.2 miles. Now you're going to get a medal because those races you get a medal. 5K you get a medal, 10K you get a medal. That's pretty cool. Pretty soon you're going to have a whole wall of medals. And you're going to say, I did that. Me, I did that. That you take with you no matter what you do in life. You can say, you know what? I got this because I just ran a 10K. I just ran a half marathon. I just ran the New York City Marathon. Now, you live your life like that, there isn't anything that you're not going to be able to conquer because you conquered the New York City Marathon or whatever it is that you're trying to do. And you live with that. That allows you to go out and take charge of your life a little bit because you faced pretty big challenge and you nail that sucker. That's a good feeling to have.
Thank you for sharing that.
Thank you.
Okay. Well, there you have it, the Running Suit Guy. So if you're interested in being on the suit, you can go to TheRunningSuitGuy.com, check him out on Facebook, and just as he said, if you're interested in running, just get out there.
Just get out there, folks. 904-878-2408. Give me a call.
This is Lisa with Apex Revenue Media, and I'll see you next time.